So a friend of mine referred a buddy of his so I can do their taxes for him. So I was excited. I always love referrals, and I said, "Hey, let me help you out." I was able to get some information from him, file his tax return, or get it ready. And when I met with him to kind of work through it and talk through it, I told him what his refund amount was going to be, because in this case he was getting a refund, and I said it's going to be X, and he says, "Ooh, okay." I said, "What's up?" He goes, "It's a little light." And I said, "Okay, well, how much do you normally get?" He says, "I get several $1,000s more than this every single year." And I said, "Well, I mean, I put all the information that you gave me." So I asked him a few questions. And then ultimately I said, "Hey, do you mind sending me your tax return from last year so I can do a side-by-side comparison so I can find the culprit?" He said, "Okay, no problem." So I looked at it and had a conversation with him, and I said, "I figured it out. You did not tell me you had a business." And he goes, I don't have a business." I said, "What do you mean? It shows here that you have a significant loss from your business that ultimately what it did was it lowered your income, which lowered your tax liability, which increased your refund." And he goes, "Nah, Gene, I had no business." And I said, "Well, you may want to talk to your tax preparer from last year to see what you can do about correcting this, because it sounds like, the business was strategically placed so that you can get a bigger refund, maybe so you can come back to that person if you had no knowledge of it, maybe so you can come back and be happy with the refund. But it looks like the loss also lowered your income enough that you qualified for some credits that normally you wouldn't qualify for. And that's why you saw several $1,000s more than I'm showing you now in your current year tax return." He said, "Okay." So I said, "Do you want me to file your tax return?" He says, "Gene, let me think about it." Cool. I didn't see him. Crickets. So I reached out to my friend and I said, "Hey, whatever happened to so-and-so?" He's like, "Oh, he filed his taxes already. He went to the old tax preparer." And I was blown away. I said, I showed you this, but you still want it because you were chasing the money. So all that to say, be careful when you ask people to work their magic to try to get you a bigger refund. Let them do their thing. There are some really good tax professionals out there, and they're very skilled, and they have ways of getting you bigger money by asking you better questions. But it's always up to you to validate and review your tax return just to make sure everything is on the up and up before you sign and you send it away.